Greetings and salutations, tube dwellers. Welcome to more Starcraft 2. Today, a 1 vs 1 first-person video, not commentated live. As you can see, I know who my opponent is going to be. It's going to be Fudge Boxy, I guess. That's how you would say that, Fudge Boxy. A platinum ranked, a little bit higher than me. I am in platinum. Ignore these team games. A buddy of mine plays on this account for team games. I don't ever play team games on it. Oh, and there he is! Mr. Fudge Boxy himself, the Zerg against my Terran. I told you I was going to try to get some Terran in here on Antigua Shipyard. A 4-player map, meaning I don't exactly know where my enemy's going to spawn. This is a decently sized map. It's kind of an odd type of macro map in that it's pretty good macro right up to 3 bases, and then it's kind of bad. It's hard to get your 4th base and go beyond that. I don't know that this game's going to go that far. I don't know that most games go that far, for me, at least, here in the Platinum especially, let alone in Diamond even. I don't really, split it. I don't have such the long games. Not many games that go to 3 bases. After fiddling with my sound, I'm going to throw out that default greeting.
Not enough minions.
Wish my opponent to have some fun in losing to me. So Terran is easily my worst race now. After the Queen buff with the Zerg, I feel really solid with the Zerg. I can do your 2-base macro, and then you can do anything off of that. A lot of times you can go to a 3-base late if you're against Terran, or immediately if you're against Protoss. And in ZvZ, it now feels like Ling and Bane shenanigans in the beginning are not near as difficult. So just all around, it's not near as difficult to macro and survive, I should say. Just all around, I really like Zerg now quite a lot. And I actually played Zerg a number of times right in a row with this account, and actually got victories. 1. 3 went up against a couple diamonds. The last 2 were diamond players, and I beat them when I was Zerg. So immediately upon switching to Terran, it tries to match me up against some diamond players, and my Terran by no means is diamond. So I got to have a little session of getting my bum handed to me on some Starcraft earlier today as Terran. Obviously I have something at least decent to show in this game, else I wouldn't be showing it to you. So we'll see what I have in store. Get my barracks at the usual time, 13 barracks. I am a subscriber to the 16 SCVs and then Orbital Command, which means that you're still building an SCV when your barracks finishes and you don't have time to immediately turn it into an orbital. Gets me the orbital a little bit slower, but gets me 1 extra worker instead. I think it maximizes active time on the command center. That's why I do it. Instantly get the first Marine, and I'm scouting with my SCV. Now note that if a Zerg was doing a kind of pressure build, of course his spawning pool is going to finish before my barracks. So this SCV would not catch that. This SCV is basically just a position finder. I want to find out where he's going to be. I don't have a gas yet, so I am planning on doing a 1 racks gasless expand. And I'm getting right up to 400 now. My pool is actually a little late. I should have a worker right now getting a command center. It looks like I did build another SCV there, so just pushed it off just a little bit. Have not found my opponent's position yet. I continue to search. Command center's down now. I've got a couple Marines at the front warding off any scouting worker. I'm going to go ahead and start continuing my barracks count. I'm going to get a 2nd barracks. Sometimes you'll see players save up and get 2 and 3 or 2, 3, and 4 barracks all at the same time. I just kind of build them as I go. I normally only get up to 3 barracks before trying to attack. Sometimes if things go awry, like if I, every now and then if a Zerg's not watching his natural, I'll just throw a bunker up and I'll just rally my first Marine over there, even doing the 1 racks expand build, and sometimes get just 1 Marine in the bunker. And normally I end up paying attention to it enough that my money kind of stacks up, and after my expand is out, I'll just whip all the barracks out at once. And then I'll normally do a follow-up push with Marines too, just because it's kind of strong in that style. But this way I'll just gradually continue to get a Marine count, and then gradually, actually less so gradually, more so pretty quickly get out tech afterwards. whereas the tech would come slow. Oh, and this is interesting. I did finally find his base, and at the 5-minute mark, I don't see a natural expansion. That is very dangerous. So I get one bunker in this build by default, but since he doesn't have a natural expansion, that makes me think that he's not trying to play a macro game, which is suicide for Zergs, unless they're planning on doing a one-base all-in. Oh boy, that is one heck of a read. So, because it's this late, if he was wanting to do a Baneling bust, it probably... on one base, it probably would have, well, he wouldn't do a one-base Baneling bust, that's preposterous, but it would come earlier. Ooh, and I just saw on my minimap for a split second some guys going out his choke. And my SCV sees a Roach 1 and a spawning pool. So, he's not doing the Baneling shenanigans, he's doing a one-base Roach push. I already have my expansion out, so I'm going to be really tight on the defense. But I do already have 2 bunkers down, and a tech lab just finishing. I'm going to get a Marauder immediately, since there are roaches in this push. The Marauder is going to do some great work. The Marauders get their bonus damage, of course, against the roaches. So I'm going to use SCVs here to repair the bunkers, and then I'm going to use just Marines in the back, and it looks like they're mismicroed right at the moment. A couple Marines were just running around willy-nilly. But the SCVs are going to be enough on the bunkers. Having 2 bunkers there really did him in. I don't think he was expecting me to, I don't know, I guess catch him. My worker got in there at a great timing there towards the end and just saw that there was no expansion. And I survived the push. Okay, well that was a short game. Well, what gives, Madbag? What's so special about that? Well, it was a short match. There's not really much to see here. He got a whole lot of units off one base, tried to push with him, and I defended it. Pow! Game 1. Alright, so what's special about it? That it's short means that I can go watch another. And still squeeze this in decent time. So here we have Captain Claw, the red Zerg player, against Hurst Templar, aka the Mad Bag, your blue Terran player. On the map, oh no. Entombed Valley, of course it is. Of course that's the map. This is a gigantic macro map. I think actually I have this map voted down on my main account. Just because Protoss, it's hard to force engagements through these smaller side chokes, and those just work so well for Protoss in a number of situations, even kind of against Terran, just being able to segregate off his forces. And it's just a huge macro map. As Terran, it's really hard to cross the middle of this map for timing pushes and come out with, you know, with an effective strike, because it just gives them so much time. If they're spotting you coming right out the front ramp, it just gives them so much time to build stuff up. Zerglings turn into banelings, all kinds of larvae turn into eggs. Roaches start crawling out of the woodwork. It gets nasty fastly. What do we have a Zerg doing here? We have a drone heading out. What is his plan for this drone? Given the timing, the positioning, and the money stack, I would have said a second base. But no, that's going to be a scouting drone. This is going to be a second base. And actually, he knows the timing better than I. Gets it there right about dead on 300. I like to see that. I also like to see hotkeys. It looks like he's got the 2 different hatcheries on separate hotkeys. And then a scouting overlord or 2, 3 and 6 there. And then he's got his scouting drone, I would assume. Barracks coming down. It looks like I am going gasless again, so I'm thinking macro style. I'm planning on expanding, and I'm blocking off the front wall to ensure that that no kind of scout can get in. Okay, so I saw something here as I poked up. My SCV can tell that there's no overlord in the air right here watching this hatchery. So at this point in time, he has not seen my SCV yet. The hatchery by itself is a very low view distance. Because there's no overlord there to spot, I'm going to slap a bunker down. He's being smart in a different way. He's actually scouting with his first 2 overlords around different sides of the map. And here his drone comes up and gets denied on getting in to see whether or not I have a gas, whether or not I have a second barracks. And I don't think he saw this Marine either. Ooh, I got a sneaky Marine and a sneaky SCV. So now his vision is going to catch the bunker, but it's just a second too late. It looks like he's got transferring drones. Surely, yeah, he recognizes it almost immediately. I don't have a Marine in the bunker yet. The SCV is going to get surrounded, and ooh, he actually survives into the bunker, and so does the Marine. Now, this Zerg is in a sticky situation. The SCV comes back out to repair. He's almost dead. If he could snipe that SCV, this bunker would be an easy kill. He's going to use the drones to block my marine reinforcement. He's going to use his lings on the bunker, and it looks like I'm going to try to use the SCV, but he catches it. Nice little bit of micro there, and with only one marine in the bunker, it is not enough. He takes me out pretty easily. Okay, so that was a very low investment push for me, but let's see the aftermath. It looks like he's on 15 drones, but with 6 about to pop. That's going to bring him right up to a good 21, and I'm on 16 SCVs. I'm getting the command center, and aha, here's the situation that I described in the last game, where it looks like my money built up while I was doing that push, and I'm slapping 3 barracks out all at the same time and then getting a gas now. So this will allow me to get a really fast, really high marine count, and I'm not far enough behind him that I'm really worried about my macro either. So I'll be able to get a good starter army, and I'll be able to probably expand really safely. Looks like he's thinking about safety as well, getting a spine crawler. He continues to make drones almost exclusively. 6 of them. He does have quite a few idle larvae. No, just 3. He's doing a good job there. He's decided to use some queen energy on a creep tumor instead of that next inject. That'll allow him to ensure his bases are connected so he can get back and forth to them more quickly. Always ideal as a Zerg. Haha, and here you see my planned fortifications. A bunker for that expanding command center. Going there to harvest dim remote resources. Ooh, an engineering bay. This is interesting. So, just looking at this, I don't have any factory yet, and I'm getting another gas relatively quick. Ooh, and I'm actually delaying the factory even further to get a tech lab. The tech lab, I assume, is going to be for marine upgrades, as me being this barracks heavy makes it really easy for me to lean on and rely on marines. No factory, though, means that I'm not going to be getting siege tank or medevac tech anytime soon. Ooh, a 3rd base coming up for the Zerg, just popping. Not too early, not too late. With a little bit of pressure in the beginning of the game, it sets the game on a little bit of tilt. Ooh, it looks like he has done quite a few Zergling rounds, though, and he needs to catch back up in the workers. He is building some right now, so he's getting ready to sprint back ahead of me. But there for a little second, he was behind. Excuse me, and even with me now, he's only 1 worker up. You kind of don't want that. My mules are going to mean that my income is exploding by comparison. Now I too am going for the rocks. It looks like we're both thinking that we're going to have a pretty simple macro game here. My food taking off ahead of his right now. I guess it's mostly just that my worker count is even. Ah, here we go. We've got a round of his stuff popping. That gets him a little bit closer. I'm still a good 10 food ahead though. So it looks like I probably just threw some of the timings of his build off early when I did that bunker pressure. A lot of times, even if you kind of have a wash of a push, if you invest quite a bit in something and, you know, get a good bit of damage done to them but not really a lot, you know, it ends up being a wash, ends up being kind of even. Sometimes you can just change the game state to something you're more used to and put your opponent in kind of an awkward position. Looks like we've got stim and +1 coming up at a very common timing. They'll be about 20 seconds apart, but that's a pretty small window. And this is a sizable group of Marines. If we go over to the army count, yeah, I've got 500 minerals on him, and we both have mineral-only armies right now. So him not having any kind of banelings or infestors, which reminds me, what kind of tech is he going for? Dual Evo and an infestation pit. The lair must have finished not too long ago. I do not yet see a baneling nest. He is getting that overlord speed. Probably wants to have a little bit better eyes, and it looks like I did finally finish my factory, and I'm rolling with the starport now. Single starport will let me get medevacs out, and being this marine heavy, medevacs really make your marine force dynamic. It makes it to where it's really easy to strike with it in different ways with drops and whatnot, and it also gives it a lot of resilience and allows you to do a number of stim tactics that just, you know, stim just a couple units to shoo off some Zerglings or some Mutalisks, maybe stim your whole army and run in and do different pickoffs and whatnot. He does scout, he sees it all. The overlord speed wasn't even required. I'm just not watching the side of my base. And he sees the production, but does not have a good positioning on the army. Now I'm clearing out that overlord. It looks like I have a mind to move into +2. I actually like to see that that started the second the armory was done, and my +1 armor is on the way as well. He has 1-1 coming, but they're not yet finished. My 1 is finished. Let's see how this goes down. I'm pushing in. I have a huge marine force. I don't see a medevac on the production queue yet, but I want to say I may have already completed one. We might have one crawling across the map here. His infestors are probably going to pop perfectly with this pathogen glands. Pathogen glands is an upgrade that allows them to have 75 energy when they spawn, which is exactly enough for a fungal, which can really mess all marine compositions up. Oh, but I'm already getting smart with him, and he does have banelings as well. I'm already pulling him back. Ooh, that was beautiful. That actually worked out in my favor hugely. Now here come the infestors. Infestors can be really nasty against a marine heavy force like this. All my money into minerals. A little bit of gas investment can just wipe me out. We'll see though. He does have another fungal. That fungal's going to make these spine crawlers optimally effective. And little bits of zerglings it looks like I am wearing down. Oof, never mind. I still have quite a lot. That third is not quite dead yet. Oh, and there it goes. And the drones went with it. He's even with me on worker count though. So that's not to say that he's super far behind. Mules would allow me, of course, to take the upper hand there economically. And it looks like he's going to go for a counter. I actually really like this. I think he doesn't necessarily know that the Marines are there, but with that creep tumor, he should have seen me back out. And he's going to try to go for a base deny. Oh, on my third, which is landed, but is not yet a planetary fortress. Oh, so the Zerglings are going to have free reign over that. I have nothing in position to defend it. But the Marines look like they're going to have their own kind of fun. The infestors did not have enough energy for fungal. They are going to put down a couple infested Terrans. Oh, and a fungal! Oh my god, when you get the right fungal, look at that. All these Marines have 5 hit points. Yes, a drone attacking them can potentially kill them. Oh, but the infestors are getting some damage. And I have to lift, although I do save it. I salvage it with some Marines. And he barely keeps that push held off. Now, he is in a nasty spot. He's in a pit of a position. He has 2-2 on the way, surprisingly enough. 1-1 has finished. But I have 2-1 finished. And it looks like I've got 2 armor ahead of his 2-2. This is a pretty nasty position now. He doesn't look like he's trying to drone out. He's going to try to put together one final push and come in and do damage to me. Oh, nice catch! He uses 1 fungal and 1 infested Terran. Oh, he doesn't actually have enough for another one, though. And it looks like, yeah, he is going to be able to take me out there, but my dropship will get away with some in it. That's kind of nice. A full dropship does more damage than an empty dropship, but or more than a not full one. But any degree of drop damage, like even like 2 or 3 Marines, can just pull his attention away sometimes. Just set it over here and don't pay any attention to it. Expect it to die. Sometimes it can allow you to do more damage in another place, like push around to the backside here. And it looks like I didn't quite sniff out exactly how much of an upper hand I had. Taking out the third was big, but I kept losing chunks of Marines to his baneling and mainly to his fungal play. The drop is going to continue to be annoying, like I said. You can do a lot of cool stuff with that, and he is finally droning up. So he wanted to get some units out so he could feel safe, and he did that, and he feels safe now, especially with this baneling count. And now he's going to drone up again. It looks like I'm not going to let the pressure fall short forever. I'm just going to kind of collect myself, make sure my macro is, oh, horrible. Oh, my macro is terrible. That is ridiculous macro. But put together what I can of a semblance of Terran macro. And now I'm going to push out across the map now that I feel like I have that. I'm going to siege up right on the edge of his creep. This could be risky as he sees it, and I can't necessarily see real deep on his creep, so he could have a pretty good sized army that I don't see. He has a couple infestors. And I'm keeping the spread because I'm scared of infestors. I haven't deployed tanks now. Tanks can help you defend infestors, but most of the time, even against tanks, infestors will get a good fungal off. If your guys are packed together right, the infestors take a shot or two. But a fungal gets shot off before they die. Most of the time, anyway. He's got his Zergling spread out in kind of an odd manner. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like all of them are on his control group. It looks like this probably is. But if he used them from that distance, I'm not sure they'd all arrive here at the same time anyway. those infestors are perilously perched. I have a Marine on the patrol for those hidden bases. I don't think... I was up there when I scouted. I think that's the last time I checked the top left. That could be really dangerous. I probably want to do that more. Oof, I like to see this production queue. 3 Terran infantry upgrades. And it looks like I'm going to flank with just a handful of infantry. And then I'm going to come right up front with a big pack. Now, he's got a lot of banelings now. Let's see this army count again. He's been able to recuperate pretty well, but I am still in an incredibly dominant position. I didn't realize this was as long of a one-sided game as it was. I felt like with as low tech as I stayed, I was in a kind of precarious position, using only Marines against banelings and infestors. But having this tank count now, I feel pretty good. Oof! That's not good, though. Oh, and that's a terrible way to lose a tank. He actually has drones in this push. Oh, he runs out early, though. Does not quite have enough to keep the forces going. Those fungals still, though. Just chunks of my infantry taking ridiculous damage. And he's still got, what, almost 2 fungals there. He's coming back around to a fungal there. But I'm not sure it's going to quite cut it. And here comes a drop on the right and the left side. He does still have a chunk of Zergling Baneling. Nice move with the infestors, getting them underground, trying to keep them alive. And he's putting together a miracle defense. He's about to wipe out all the rest of my Marines on the front. I do have reinforcements coming in, but he's still got that 4-pack of infestors, and he's still got... Oh, never mind. He did still have some Zerglings and Banelings, but... Oh, man. Okay, yep. The grind is wearing. And there it is! GG! So there you have a slightly more interesting game on the back end after that quickie to begin with. That was a Platinum player. Looks like our economy breakdown. I could tell you that came from having that worker count early. There were a lot of times in this game that I was even with him on worker count. And you don't want that as a Zerg. You want more workers because those mules, they make a difference. This looks pretty normal for a Zerg versus Terran. He actually traded with me. That's something I should have checked. I should have checked units lost at the end of that. Oh my god, yeah. So I'm reading a higher army value, but note that I didn't really put technology in my army as early as he was. Throughout this whole time, I wasn't gearing up to go for gas and for a lair and for infestors, or in my version of that, for, you know, a factory with siege tanks and a starport. I was instead just pumping out mass Marines, and that allowed me to have a pretty large army count, and then just kind of topple him over. See you guys in the next episode.